This My Thoughts Monday is brought to you by Kinetic Performance, the makers of the Rolls-Royce of barbell monitoring technology, the GymAware. Guys, in season training, we rock the GymAware all the time for quite a few reasons. The first, of course, is just that, the ding. Every time the athlete hears that, they know that they're hitting exactly what we need from them at that moment. And when they don't hear it, it brings out that extra little bit of competitiveness within themselves. On top of that, that awesome ding ends out bringing together the athletes as well, pushing each other and getting each other to be able to hit numbers that they probably wouldn't hit at that portion of the year. And finally, of course, that ding helps us monitor, manipulate, and keep track of volumes and intensities so we can best dose our athletes during the season at the right time with the right amount. Guys, hop over to kinetic.com.au and check out what Evan and the team down there have, because this is absolutely a sensational product that's changed the way that we've trained our athletes. This edition of My Thoughts Monday is brought to you by Valve Performance, the team behind the Nordboard, ForceDex, the Groin Bar, and Human Track. Guys, the most important ability for all of our athletes is availability, and that's the absolute goal of Valve Performance, is to provide solutions to performance professionals so that we can get the right information to make the right decision at the right time for the betterment of the athletes that we get to work with. To do this, guys, they have a wide range of validated products that focus on usability, and having being founded by the School of Exercise and Nutrition Sciences at the Queensland University of Technology, they're extremely evidence-based and they're beyond transparent. I can tell you that our time using the Nordboard and being involved with ForceDex, we have been introduced to so many amazing people that have truly helped us become better coaches, have a better understanding, not just of the technology, but also what we're doing with our athletes. So make sure you hop over to valveperformance.com today to make sure you check out what they got. It's going to make you better and to do better by your athletes. Hey, what's happening, everybody? Jay DeMayo coming at you with this week's edition of My Thoughts Monday. Today, guys, I kind of want to piggyback on last week's talk where, we were talking a little bit about like what our role is, looking at history and all those things. I kind of want to talk about another kind of buzz term and where I think that maybe we are misinterpreting some things with what we do, and that is the idea of buy-in. I think that this idea of buy-in, obviously it's become way more sexy of late because of the awesome book that Brett Bartholomew put out, Conscious Coaching. But I think that there's a lot of people that are misinterpreting kind of what Brett was doing with that and kind of what the whole book was about. And we look at it as this idea of buy-in, as like we are selling ourselves and our program to the coaches and athletes that we work with. And I think that if you actually go through the book and you read it, you realize that it's more about understanding how to communicate to each person and how to relate with them and how to discuss with them and connect with them, more so than it is about trying to sell yourself and your program to them. Well, I say that because obviously the book has been exceptionally successful. There's been some really, really awesome discussions, and it's really challenged a lot of us to be better practitioners and treat people in a better way and to look deeper into these relationships and communication strategies that we utilize. But it's also brought that word buy-in to the forefront, and it's made people kind of look at it in different ways. And it's that it's been something that's been successful when people completely misinterpret it and start to talk bad about the word on Twitter and whatever. So congrats, Brett, you made it. But I think that book has done so much in a positive sense for us. But we look at those two words, buy-in, and I think that in this field that we work with, this kind of little corner of the world of sport that we coach under, I think that there might be something, again, looking at it historically and what we're doing and what we're trying to do that may be misinterpreted or may be a little bit, misguided when we're talking about this idea of buy-in. I think one of the things that we hear a lot about, and one of the complaints that we have more often than not, is that we have coaches trying to tell us, sport coaches that is, trying to tell us, strength and conditioning, physical preparation, whatever we want to call ourselves, professionals, how we should train their athletes, how we should prepare their athletes, what our programming should be, what our goals should be, what all of these things should be, that they get out of their lane to dictate what we should do. And they shouldn't do that because we have a degree, we have experience, and we have certification, and we have all of these things. Okay, let's slow down. What if I told you I was going to pull up to this Dunkin' Donuts right here, to its drive-thru, and I was going to tell them what I wanted, and then they said to me, nope, you're going to get 2 glazed donuts and that's it? You'd probably be like, huh? Well, I say that because we also talk about we're in a support role, right? We're here to support the athletes and support the coaches. But when they tell us what they want, and they tell us what's important, and they tell us what our goals should be, we get angry at them and defensive because they don't know what they're talking about. I've never called a pizza parlor, told them I wanted a large pepperoni, and they said, nah, you want a small white pizza with extra mushrooms. It's because they're providing something for you. If we are truly in a support role, shouldn't we be providing what these people deem as most important for their athletes to be successful? Maybe that isn't exactly what we think it is right away. Maybe what they see as most important may not fit into our philosophy. And we'll talk about that whole thing in another day. But isn't part of our job to sit down, evaluate the sport, talk with the sport coach, talk with the athletes, figure out what needs to be trained and get them better at that? So when one of those 3 cogs in the wheel is telling us to do something and is saying that they feel like something may be important for their athletes to improve upon, why do we stick our nose up at them and say, you don't know what you're talking about? Maybe they do. And I'm not saying that all of these are right. I'm not saying that every time someone brings something up like this, they're right. I mean, if you work with a swim club and they're like, oh, well, we got to run this program right here because Jay DeMeo does that with Nova Aquatics in Virginia. So if you don't do that, like yada, 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 this, that, and the third. Well, we all know, well, hey, maybe our training schedule is different. Maybe we have different equipment. Maybe our practices are totally different. We have different kids. Like copy pasting a program obviously is not the best way to be successful. So there are situations where we should require ourselves to sit down and talk with these people. If it's a situation where what they're asking for and what the way they're trying to get there are counterproductive, isn't it our job to sit and talk to them about it? Because again, if we're the experts, use that term loosely, and I think most of us would use that term pretty loosely, shouldn't we be communicating with them about what their goals are, how they're trying to reach them, and any way that may be a better way to get there. That doesn't mean them saying they need to be in better shape and us saying, no, they have to lift 4 days a week because they're not strong enough. I don't think that that's where we fit. And I think that all too often we do put our guard up and we get very defensive over that. But if we are supposed to be experts in all realms of physical preparation, and we are supposed to be experts in understanding how we can make these athletes bigger, stronger, faster, more explosive, in better shape, aerobically, anaerobically, whatever it may be, then when we're called upon to provide those improvements, shouldn't we be able to provide those specific improvements? And shouldn't we be able to sit there and talk with coaches about how, what, and why we're doing it? They should give us the goal, they should give us the direction, and we should provide the GPS with how to get there. They give us the starting point and the ending point. We give the directions. And when we fight with how to get to that end point, are we ever going to get to that end point? And then piggybacking that, what I can tell you through 15 years of doing this here is the more you give, the more you get. So if you really do feel like those other things are that important, give them what they want. Provide what they want. And provide it successfully, and they'll back you more and more and more as you move forward. But let's just remember that at the end of the day, the next time you go to the bar and you just stand there and you stare at the bartender and they say, what can I get you? And if you're in Richmond, you'll probably say in a Falcon Smash, and they walk back with a gin and tonic, you're not going to be happy. So figure that out. Listen, learn, understand, and communicate better with them to understand more of what they need, because constantly sitting here and being like, oh, well, they can't tell us this and they can't tell us that. Well, they kind of can, because we're there to support them and the athletes that they provide us. So, I don't know. You could be in complete disagreement to this, and I'd love to have this be more of an open discussion, but I think that this is a discussion that needs to be had at a higher level, because I think that, again, it's a time where we're borrowing trouble. Because at the end of the day, right, if you can't provide them what they're asking for, you're probably in the wrong position anyway, right? So, I don't know. Would love to hear your thoughts, comments, criticisms on this idea, but I think that this is something that, again, we need to talk more about, we need to be more flexible about, and it's going to help us all be better at the end of the day. So, as always, guys, truly appreciate everything you do for us here at Central Virginia Sport Performance. I'll be back next week with another My Thoughts Monday. I'll see you then.